Hey there guys, welcome to this episode of Landlord Go. In the previous episode, I don't really remember what we did, but the major things that we did in the few previous episodes is we bought this Taloja Mumbai, which is 4.7 billion, and Uran, which is 4.4 billion. And after that, I also bought a few smaller properties that were on discount, like the Gateway Ferry, which is a 60 million property, and the Indigo Bus to Aircraft, and the shuttle from international to domestic. So these are trams, airport trams, and the Gateway Ferry is a boat or a ferry ride. I don't remember what it was, but something like that. And then I think that's all the updates about the properties that we have. And there's a really good trend, 20% discount on hospitals. Now, I know 20% discount isn't cutting anything, because 20% is what's the tax reduction when you flip it to the bank later on. But the thing is, we have made 350 million from just the revenue that's coming from the Taloja Mumbai and Uran. So it's been a few days since I recorded the previous video. So you can see that Taloja Mumbai is giving us about 38.6 million and Uran is giving us about 35.7 million per day, and all the other properties combined give us about 1 or 2 million. So we get a lot of revenue, and we have 354 million stored, and we also have 429 coins. Now the thing about hospitals is that there are 4 or 5 really good hospitals in my hometown, so I don't really have to go anywhere. So if I turn off my agent, you can see I've already done this sorting, and I haven't moved my agent anywhere. I've just turned off my agent, so I'm in my hometown, and near my location there are 5 hospitals that are worth, let's see, this is 1.5 million, sorry, billion. This is 1.5 billion again. This is 1.5 billion, and this is 2.1 billion, and this is 1.5 billion. So there's 4 properties, 1.5 billion, that's 6 billion, and 2.1 is 2 billion. So that's 8 billion worth of hospitals alone. Now if we go in here and we sell Taloja Mumbai, now the thing is, before we sell any of these, Uran or Taloja Mumbai, we have to decide, do we want to do this? The thing is that if we sell these 2 properties and get the hospitals at 20% discount, there won't be a big jump in the leaderboards. First thing, we are at 11.7 billion right now, at 75 in the country, and at 8734 in the world, and number 15 in the server. But because there's only 20% discount on hospitals, if we sell these 2 properties now and sign up for those properties, it will take about 2 days for those to finish, because it's a 1.52 billion property. So I think somewhere in the range of 2.5 days, maybe 3 days. And with 3 days, these properties give us a total revenue of 38 plus 35, about 70 million. And I don't really collect all the revenue every day, but there are in-game ads for the revenue as well, which doubles your revenue. So we'll keep it at 70 million per day, and that gives us, in 3 days, that gives us about 210 million. Now 210 million for those properties which are worth about 8 billion. So 210 million is somewhere in the range of around 6%, I think. 210 million, I think the maths is wrong, maybe it's wrong, maybe it's not. So 200, and that would be 6%. I think it would be 6%. So somewhere in that range, sorry, not 6%, 3%, I'm really sorry. So we are losing 3% in the revenue, but we have talked about this previously as well. There's something working in the background that's giving us extra revenue when we sell a property. So if we sell something, we get a 5 or 10% additional value for that property. So a 4.7 billion property, if we try to sell this right now, it says we're going to get 3.797, so that's 3.8 billion, and then 354, and that would be 4.15 billion. But if we do that, we will get a 5 or 10% additional something. I don't know how that happens, but that happens. So there's a 3% loss that we are ready to take for 3 days, and then there's a 5% gain just by selling these properties. So I think that would be a 5% off of obviously of 4.7. So that won't be much actually. 20, 25, I think 200 million. No, yeah, it will be 200 million. So that would be 400 million really for both the properties. So Taloja, Mumbai and Uran would be 400 million. So we're getting about 400 million extra. I'm not so sure that we will get the 400 million extra, but we can go ahead and try that. And if we don't get that, we are losing a 3% valuation. So that would be about, we just calculated, that would be about 210 million. That's the revenue that's generated from these two properties in the time of 3 days. But then because this is 20%, and if that 5 or 10% that we're getting additionally per property that's sold to the bank, if we don't get that, we won't get that for the next properties. That is when we will want to flip these hospitals as well. So in that case, we won't be getting any profit on these hospitals, because we are getting it for 20% discount, and then we are selling it again to the bank with a 20% discount. So there won't be anything that we will be making. So there's a chance that we have to take now to try and understand the game, if it's possible to get the 5 or 10%, which we get all the time. But with these properties, I haven't really tested or paid attention to that, so we'll have to figure that out first. And if that is what we get, we are in a plus of about a 5 or 6%. I'm not going to do the entire math here, and I haven't done anything. I'm really tired. It's 3 a.m. in the morning, so forget about the maths, but something about 5 or 6%, somewhere in that range, would be our actual profit, even if we wait for 3 days and sell these properties immediately to the bank after they have done their paperwork, which we never do anyway. But that's one thing. And then there's the other thing, where if that doesn't work out, if we don't get the 5 or 10%, we will be losing a 3% valuation because of the 3 days. That's gonna give us a 210 million loss. So that's something we have to decide for ourselves, and I think we should take the risk. Because if we get the reward would be somewhere in the range of, I think, somewhere in the range of 700 to 800 million is the excess that we could get. So we are betting 200 million against 700, 800 million. So I think that's a fair risk to reward ratio, and we should really do that. But before we do that, we will use these 429 coins we have to upgrade the account, and so the paperwork timing goes from 20% to 21%. That's actually reducing the time by 21%, and we have 179 coins left. So because the counter now costs 350, we can't really upgrade that, and we don't really need the lawyer or the landlord. But the reduced 5% of property cost, so this innovator thing is something that's really close to the calculation that we have done previously. This is something that might be affecting the valuation of our properties when we flip them to the bank. So we'll upgrade the innovator as much as possible. So we went from 5 to 6%. Now we're going from 6 to 7%, 7 to 8, and there isn't enough to go to 9. I think there isn't enough. It takes 72. We only have 59. So we are at 8%. So we should get an additional revenue or additional value of a property of about 8% when we sell it to the bank. That's something that one of the subscribers pointed out in a comment. I just remembered it was a long time ago that he did all the mathematics, so you can go ahead and watch the video if you want to. So in the comments of that video, there's all the mathematics that he did to arrive to the conclusion that the innovator was actually affecting the valuation of properties when we flip them to the bank. So the 5% that we were getting extra was because of the innovator, and he wasn't so sure, and I'm not so sure that's the reality, but that's the closest thing we have come to explaining what's happening. But anyway, so now there's 24 minutes left. There's plenty of time, and since there's nobody who plays this game in my city where I live, it doesn't matter really if you wait, because no one's going to pick up those hospitals anyway. And unfortunately, we don't have our agent in this city, or we would have moved it around. And there are so many hospitals in our city that we could have filled all of the property slots that we have. But I think we don't really even have that much money anyway. So let's just, first of all, try and sell this. So remember, when we sell to the bank, we get 3.8 billion plus 354 million. So that should be 400 and I'm really sorry, 4154 or 415. We can go with 415. So 4150. That's the thing that we're looking for. But if there is a 8% additional discount, so the 8 into 4 would be 32. So there should be a 300 million difference that's going to happen if we do this. So when we sell this, we should have, instead of having 4.4150, we should have 4.450. So let's just try and see if that happens. And it's going to take some time to load. This has happened before, so don't panic. And it says 4.4, so that means the speculator is actually affecting the valuation of properties when we sell them to the bank. So instead of 4.15, it is now at 4.450. So there's an 8% difference, and we have pinpointed the exact thing that's affecting the valuation. And that's a really good thing. Now we're going to focus on our innovator to upgrade it as much as possible. So that was one of the properties. Now let's just sell the other one, which is Uran. And that's going to give us 3.5 million. So it's 3.5 billion, sorry. So if you add that to 4.4 billion, we should get 7.9 billion. But because there's a 8% difference, so 3.5 billion into 8%, so 8 into 3.5 would be, I think, 28. So if that's 28, that's 280 million extra. So that should give us 8.18. So 8.1 billion or 8.2 billion is something that should pop up in there. So let's just try selling it, and we will wait a second before it refreshes the amount of money that we have. And let's just, oh my god, it's taking yes, it went to 8.2 billion. So the innovator is actually affecting the prices. Now we have 8.2 billion, and if you go into your leaderboard now, you will see that it's not refreshing, but in the world, hopefully it's refreshed in the world. No, it hasn't refreshed in the world, but in our profile, yes, it has, and we are at 384 million only. Anyway, we'll collect this money, which is 34,000. That we should have waited a little bit, and we would have collected 1 million instead of the 34,000. But anyway, it doesn't matter. 1 million, because the properties that we just sold combined give us about 1 million every 14-15 minutes. But because we sold those exactly before the amount was collected, we don't really get that 1 million. We only got 34,000. That's okay, it doesn't matter. And then there's other properties that are small that we can flip because we bought those for flipping. So I'm gonna sell those as well. But before we sell those, do we really need to? Let's just first buy the hospitals. We're gonna start with the most expensive one, which would be this one here, 2.1 billion. Let's just go ahead and buy that. And then this one, which is 1.538. Then this one, 1.540. This one, 1.533. It doesn't really matter, all of those are in the same ballpark. And then this one is 1.538, and we can only buy 920, so we will really need to sell all the other properties that we bought for flipping. Let's start with the Gateway Ferry because it's the most expensive one. And then with that, we have 1.5 billion. Let's see if that's enough to buy the entire property. And it still isn't enough. We're still making a difference of 47 shares. So we will have to sell the other things that we bought. So shuttle, whatever this is an airport tram. So let's just sell that one. And then we will sell this one as well. And there isn't anything else. The Shani Mandir is something we bought for flipping, but we're not going to flip that. We've talked about this in a previous episode, and the reason we're not going to flip that is because these things aren't worth much. It's just 4 coins, and the upgrade will happen. So we're not going to sell that. And then let's just come here again. And now the super specialty hospital, now we can buy 969 shares. We will still not be able to buy the entire 1,000 shares. Let's just see if we can sell anything else, but we can't. We've already upgraded more, so we're not gonna sell that. And the only thing that we can sell is Shani Mandir, and then we can rebuy it. But then we bought it for a discount, so I don't think we need 78 million to actually do that, what we need is, I think, let's just see how much do we need. Since it's 1.5 billion, one share would be worth 15 million, I guess. So in that case, we need 31 shares, so that would be 450 million, something in that range. Am I doing the math right? I don't know. Maybe it's just because I'm too tired. But anyway, let's just forget about all of that. Let's just buy the 969 shares that we can buy, or that we can afford with the money that we have. Forget about the 31 shares that's left. So let's just buy that. And now we have 448k left. And the valuation of our properties is at 13 billion now. We have leveled up. We have 15 more coins from leveling up. And in the country, we are 75 because it's going to take 10 minutes to update that. And in the world, we are at 8392. So we're getting closer to the 8k mark. And in the server, it's going to take some time to update as well. We are not at 11.7 anymore. We are at 13.1, but we'll be same. We'll be at the same rank because the 14th rank is 13.3 billion anyway. But in the country, we should jump a few places. Let's see. And we will jump to about 72 in the country, which is 3 ranks. So that's good enough. Doesn't matter really. So we actually made a 2 billion difference with the properties that we sold. And let's just see how much time it's going to take. About 3 days. Some properties are going to take 3 days, and the Sigma Hospital is going to take 3 days, 3 days, 12 hours, which is 3.5 days. So the thing about this game is that as much as you level up, the time that a property takes to complete goes up, and the revenue that a property generates goes down. So if you watched the previous video, I remember someone commenting. I don't really know why their comment isn't showing up on this video, but it's showing up in my notification. So what they commented was, I was making 1 million per day with a 4 million property, and that was really in the early stages, somewhere in the level 1 to 10, somewhere in that range. In that range, what happens is, it doesn't matter what property you own, you make a 25-30% revenue on that property. But when you level up, the revenue that you make actually goes down, and it kept going down and down. And now we're making nothing with these properties. As long as I remember, let me just go into this here. Hotel Abiruchi over here with level 1, it's at level 6 now, which was the 4 million property. I think that's the property that was being commented about. It was making 1 million per day, and now it's making only 315k per day, and its valuation is 31.6 million. It was 4 million previously, making 1 million per day, and at 31.6 million, it's only making 315.9k. So that's one of the bad things about the game. But if they don't really do that, people would get bored with the game really soon, because they would be making a lot of money, and then they would not know what to do with their money. So that's okay. It's not a big deal. The only thing I wish that didn't go up would be the time that it takes to complete the properties. So when I level up, the time goes up, doesn't matter what the cost of the property is. So a 2 billion property at level under 100 would take only about 1.5-2 days to complete, but now the 2 billion property takes about 3 days to complete. So it's gonna go up all the time, but that's a bad thing. I don't care about the money or the cost or the revenue that a property is generating. It can go down with leveling up, that doesn't matter, but the time, that really matters, because when, like I said, it's just a 2 billion property. When we have a 1 trillion or a 2 trillion property that's completing its paperwork, it could take months with the current state of things. I don't know how the game has figured that out. We will discover that soon enough, I think in a few months. Let's just hope that I don't lose interest before that and drop the game, but I'm not going to do that. So don't worry, we are going to climb the leaderboard, at least get in the top 100 in the world, and then we can talk about what we want to do with the game later on, because getting to the top in the world, if you go into the leaderboard, is almost impossible, because this guy's at 3.7 quadrillion. I don't know how many years he's been playing for, but let's just see what happens. We'll go with the flow. But for now, let's just do a status report. So we have a 13 billion valuation now. We just bought 5 different properties for a 20% discount on hospitals, and we have 74 coins and 448k left in our bank account. And the revenue that we're generating right now per day is hardly about 2 or 3 million. That's what we're generating until these properties finish. we took a risk of 200 million to gain a difference of about 700 million, 700 to 800 million. So that's not a big deal. The risk is worth it. So that's all for this video. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, hit the like button and subscribe, and also hit the notification icon, or it's also called the bell icon, so you don't miss a video when it's out. See you next time in a new video.